Hi everybody, so you saw in the last installment in part 11 that I won my pro card. So what happened after that? Stay tuned and you're going to find out. All right, so thanks again for joining. This is part 12 of my story. And the last time we talked, we finally were relieved to see that I got my pro card. It was great. If you missed that, part 11, go back and check it out. So let's talk about what happened after that. So I had already, after prejudging, as I mentioned in the last video, I thought I'm pretty sure I'm going to win this contest. And I had already checked the IFBB schedule to see what pro shows were coming up. I had been knocking at the door for so long, I just figured I'm going to come out guns blazing, and I'm going to go after the 212 class. Now, I was about 220 when I waited and got my pro card, but I figured, you know, I'm an ex-wrestler, football player, whatever, so I figured I could suck a few pounds out. So I already seen that there was a pro show coming up in Vancouver. There are actually 3 pro shows left before the Mr. Olympia. And I, quite frankly, just wanted to see how I would do. I mean, I just had no idea. So the Vancouver Pro Show came up. I want to say it was about 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, but it was 2 or 3 weeks after I won my pro card. I signed up for it. And unfortunately, one of my clients decided, Sean Clarita, he was going to do it too. And I was also coaching Fuad Abiad for it, and he was in the open class. So it was. So here's what happened. So I'm hanging around 219, 220. I'm already in exceptional condition, and I get to Vancouver. The next day, I got to weigh in, and I wake up in the morning, and I'm about 218, somewhere around there. And this is the first time I had to make a weight in many, many years, since I've wrestled, actually, in high school, in the 80s. So it'd been a long time since I had to make weight for anything. And I heard, I think Jose Raymond, I think a couple of these guys, they just go 24 hours without eating or drinking. So I thought, well, maybe I'll just do that. I just won't eat or drink for 24 hours and we'll see what happens. So I didn't eat or drink throughout the day. I may have had a few bites of cod or something like that, like literally just a few bites. And my weight was coming down, but it was like 215, 216, and then it kind of stuck. So then I had to sweat a little bit. So I remember I went down to the gym there in the hotel, and it was closed. So I was really worried, like, I don't know if this is going to work or not. And what happened was the weigh-in wasn't until way late in the evening. So I did have like another 5 or 6 hours to not eat. So I just basically didn't eat or drink, and I tried to keep active and moving around. And by the time I weighed in, I made 212. But by the time I weighed in, I was completely exhausted. And I remember thinking I should probably eat a whole lot tonight before I go to bed, but I was so tired I literally didn't. And I woke up very, very flat, awfully flat. And I did prejudging, and I was in the top 5, but I could tell my physique was just like a shadow of itself. And we'll put some pictures up. You'll see what I look like in the evening. But after the prejudging, I was a little disappointed. I wasn't disappointed in my placing. I was disappointed because I knew I could have looked so much better. So after prejudging, I ate. I remember the first thing I did was I went to at the hotel. I went to the little convenience store in there, and I bought some ice cream. I think I might have bought 2 or 3 ice cream bars. I bought a bunch of M&Ms, and I ate all that. Then I had a couple steaks, and then I went back for the finals, and I looked way better. Still not at my best, but a different person, way better. So I ended up getting 5th place, and people in the audience were like, "Wow, didn't think you were going to get 5th." And I said, "Well, you should have seen me in prejudging. I looked pretty bad in prejudging, so." And anyway, so my client Sean ended up winning. He got 1st place in the 212s, and Fuad ended up getting 1st place in the Open. So it was definitely a great weekend. And then we all went to IHOP and we ate pancakes, and it was good. So I get back to town and I start eating, and it's about Tuesday or Wednesday, and all of a sudden I'm about 218, 219. I look really good, like probably the best I ever looked. And I see there's another show, the Tampa Pro show coming up, and I thought, let me try a different approach. The starvation approach didn't work, but what if I could just sweat the weight out? Maybe do it over 5 or 6 hours. Maybe I'd have a little bit of time to get everything to come back. So what I did was I signed up for the Tampa show, which was 2 weeks from Vancouver, and I got there and I was 218. The next morning I went up, weighed in, or I didn't weigh in. I went down. They had a scale actually in their little gym, and I was 218. And they had a sauna. So I started the sauna. The nice thing about the weigh-in was it wasn't at night. It was earlier in the day. I can't remember exactly what time it was, but it was midday, maybe 2, 3 o'clock. So I had plenty of time to get some food in me afterwards. But so I went into the sauna, and after about 4 hours, I came out. My weight was still like 215. One of my friends was at the show, a guy you guys know, Dr. Scott Stevenson. So Scott was there. Here's the kind of guy Scott is. He actually was hanging out in the sauna with me for hours, just talking, making sure I didn't die. So Scott, I'm like, man, I'm still over. So Scott starts getting glasses of water and pouring it over the coals, so we just made it even hotter. And I put a picture, I'll show you a picture, I'll flash it up, where I'm pointing at the temperature in there. It was really hot. But I went back, so I weighed in, and I weighed in at 214. And they just shook their head and said, can't do it, you're 2 pounds over. So Scott and I went back into the sauna, and what I did was, you know how you have little booths set up, like a little expo? There was a company there selling clothes. And as soon as you walked out the door, you saw that little company. And I said, just give me the heaviest sweatpants and sweatshirts you got. And he's like, well, let me make you a deal. I'm like, no, just give me sweatpants, give me sweatshirts. I need to go sweat. So I threw him a $100 bill, and he's like, oh, let me give you your change. It's like $5. And I was like, no, I got to get sweating because I got to be back. So I put on the sweatshirt, I put on the sweatpants, went back in the sauna. Scott poured more water over the coals, and we were there another hour and got a text, and the text said, are you coming back? We're getting ready to close up. So I ran back down the way in, and there was literally one guy there with the scale, and everybody else was gone. And I weighed in 212 even, right on the dot. He said, okay, we'll put you in the 212s. So I was able to eat 3 or 4 meals. The day was still early. My posing coach, Kenny Wallet, came and saw me like 11 o'clock at night, and he worked with me. In the morning, I got up, I had a good breakfast. Now, the lineup was really deep. There were several people in the show that had been in the Mr. Olympia the year before. And I was hoping I would make the top 5 or 6, but that was a pretty tough class. And they called out the top 5, and I was in the top 5, so I was ecstatic. I've heard many people say that's like the happiest person they've ever seen on stage. So I was super, super happy. And after prejudging, I got some really good feedback, and people are like, you're probably 3rd or 4th, and I was like, really? Wow, that's even better. So then we came back for the finals, and they only called out 3 people, and I was one of the 3. So I know at that point I was in the top 3. And I did get 3rd place, and I got my first ever medal, the Tampa Pro, right here. 3rd place, Wings of Strength, and this was the first time I actually won a cash prize. I won a little bit of money, probably enough to cover for the flight. That's about it. But I was super excited, and the week before I had picked up some points in Vancouver, and I picked up some more points from a 3rd place at Tampa, and there was only one show left, San Antonio, and I was actually in the points running to make the Mr. Olympia. So I'm going to cut the video now. The next time we talk, I'm going to tell you what happened in San Antonio, tell you what happened leading up to the Olympia, and we'll go from there. So appreciate you watching. Thanks again, and have a great day.